Kerri Ho from the songbird where we get grounded, take flight, and sing. And today you're in for a bit of a treat. You're about to meet a very inspiring person. She has performed on the 25th anniversary tour of Les Miserables, as well as the second national tour of Wicked, and on Broadway in Everyday Rapture alongside the great Sherie Renee Scott. She was an American Idol Season 4 semi-finalist and is also very well known for her very educational but mostly super fun and hilarious YouTube series called Breaking Down The Riffs. A true songbird, a voice teacher, an actress, and a serious riffer. Everyone, you're about to meet Natalie Weiss. Hi Natalie, how are you going?
Hi, I'm going well. I can't do accents. I could say a couple words in an Australian accent. Totally awesome.
That was totally awesome.
Totally awesome.
That's fantastic. So, is that the answer to my question? You're totally awesome? Or? Now, Natalie, I came across your work for the very first time at an international voice conference a few years ago, where the amazing Mary Saunders Barton basically stood up and recommended everybody in the room check you out. Like, check out Natalie Weiss. And I was like, that was it. So I went and checked you out, and I've been hooked ever since. How does it feel to be so esteemed by one of the world's greatest Broadway coaches?
Well, Mary Saunders is my mentor, so she was my voice teacher all through college.
Yes.
She taught me everything I know,
Yes.
except for the riffing and the pop stuff. She did not teach me that.
Yes.
But she taught me the technique, and she's my buddy.
Yes.
And we still get lunch and stuff. I saw her the other day, so that's pretty awesome.
Really awesome. Yes, I'm really curious about your career and how you've actually gotten to where you are today, Natalie. So my first question to you is, what was your favorite theater experience?
Well, I feel like when I made my Broadway debut, it was super exciting because that's kind of where everyone aspires to be.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was working with Sherie Renee Scott, who was a superstar, and she basically wrote the show. I got hired very fast and had to come into the show as an understudy for two of the meninettes, which are kind of like Sherry's backup singer dancers.
Yeah.
And I knew when I got hired that I would have performances, which was really great. When you get cast, you don't always have contracted performances, so you might be on Broadway for 2 weeks and never go on, which I've had friends that have been standbys and have the Broadway credit, but played cards backstage. Right.
I see, yeah.
So, it was really exciting for me to go on for a week. It was such a fun show. Like, I did Les Mis for almost 3 years, and people say, did you have fun? I had so much fun touring the country, but Les Mis isn't a fun show. Like,
Sure.
it's miserable.
Actually... That's right.
I have fun backstage, but, like, doing the show, I wouldn't say it's fun. It's, like,
Yes.
inspiring,
Yeah.
So, like, Everyday Rapture was, like, you got to sing a bunch of harmonies, you got to dance, you got to be funny. Like, it just was so fun. And, like, one of the days I remember I had, like, 75 people in the audience on my Saturday night.
Right.
And, like, I think Sherie Renee Scott, like, went into her car and, like, ducked under my fans, which were really my family, But she was like, bye, guys, and, like, ran into her car, and, like, my whole family was there and friends and everyone.
Yeah.
So that was exciting.
Fantastic. So you got to work with Sherie Renee Scott. Tell us more about the experience of actually working with her.
Well, working with Sherie Renee Scott was awesome because the day that I had 75 people there, I remember, like, during my bow, she has the last bow, obviously. It's her show. She wrote it.
Sure.
And she would be like,
Yeah.
give it up for her. And I'm like, no,
Aw.
this is your show. And I think she was, like, about to do a scene, and I was exiting, and she said something like, how's it going? And I was like, get on stage. Like, what are you doing? Like, she was really supportive.
Oh, wow. She sounds lovely.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, fantastic.
It was so funny. That show was so genius, and I wish more people saw it, and I wish it lasted longer, but it was a limited run, and...
Yeah. I mean, I've seen videos of it on YouTube, but that's about it. It's never come to Melbourne, unfortunately.
That's one thing I wish there were bootlegs of me in. I was, like, really proud of that production.
Right.
And, there's a bunch of bootlegs of me, videos of me in concerts from underneath and everything, and I always have to be like on because there's video cameras, and then like the one thing I want, there's no video of.
Aww. Oh wow. But I mean, obviously it was an amazing experience. So hey, and that's forever etched in your brain. And yeah, it's a great story to tell too, isn't it? That you were able to have that experience. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, Natalie, just on another part of your career, there was one point where you were actually on American Idol. I'm just curious, what motivated you to audition for American Idol, and what was the experience like?
Well, I pretty much grew up wanting to be a pop star since I was probably like maybe like 9, 10, 11, like listening to Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, and I kind of always sang, you know, Weak by SWV and 93 and Hero were like my jam. My mom would be like, shh, stop singing.
Right.
I basically had those on loop.
Yep.
So I kind of like emulated singers growing up, and
Yes.
I auditioned. I mean, I saw season. Okay, so my friend heard about an audition for this new show called American Idol. My what year was that? 2001. Let me think. About sophomore year of high school, American Idol was announced as a new show.
Right.
And I had watched Pop Stars, like the group where they searched for Eden's Crush, and Scene 23, which had one hit. I watched every episode of any
Yes.
singing competition ever. Like,
Yes.
oh my God, it's my dream. And so my mom was like, I can't really take off work to go, and so we didn't go. And then I went to season 2, slept outside in New York with my friend, and we ended up getting cut the first round.
Okay.
And we were like, oh, like my parents threw a fit and like talked to a producer. We got seen again, like.
Oh, wow.
But then I realized like it's kind of TV and everyone gets cut.
Yes.
So I went back to season 4, and that was the season that I was on.
Yes.
And I had to take a week off of school. It was very exciting, and went to Hollywood. But it turned out differently than I thought because, you know, I kept getting far. And then when I got into the group round, I ended up with the most dramatic group of in the history of group rounds. So you always think that won't be me until it's you.
Right.
Just
So what do
because,
you mean by
you
the
know,
most dramatic group?
basically, if you're in a group and you're rehearsing and you only have like 10 hours to cram,
Yes.
you probably wouldn't sit there while everyone memorizes the words. Like, you probably wouldn't be like, hold on one sec. Wasting time.
Right.
So
Right.
basically, you know, I wanted to work on choreography and harmonies, and they were like,
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Right. So
yeah, it
everyone
was
was
horrible.
just right.
The stage parents were overbearing and rude, and I made friends there that sang the same song as me, and we were put in different groups. So I always wonder
Yes.
if I had gotten put
Yes.
in a different group,
Sure. What would have happened?
you always like wonder what would have happened.
Yeah, sure. Well, what kind of advice would you give the emerging artist who desperately wants to become a pop star or whatever and is thinking to audition for a singing reality TV show? What would your advice be?
Honest advice?
Yeah. No, fake
Don't.
it. No, yes, honest advice.
No, don't do it.
Don't do it.
I also got cut from The Voice, which was traumatic, about 3 years ago.
Oh, right.
And I think my advice is always, if you have nothing better to do that day and you know you're going to get cut no matter what, and know that it's not based on talent, then go.
Right.
But
Okay.
it's a mind game. It's based on TV.
Yes.
If it's everything to you, you're going to be crushed.
Yeah, sure.
I was crushed.
Right.
And like when I get a no at auditions, it's like, duh. You expect no's in the theater business. For some reason, when I got a no, it was like my life is falling apart.
Yeah. No,
It doesn't
gotcha.
feel real. It's like your ultimate dream, and now it's not my dream anymore because I know it's.
I mean, you're doing amazing, you know, without them. So it's all good.
You're sweet.
No, seriously, you know, you're such an inspiration.
Hey.
Yeah, no, I just got to tell you, I am absolutely totally in love with your show on YouTube, Breaking Down The Riffs. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, not only do you break down these, like, to me, are like impossible riffs from the greatest R&B artists, and you just make it kind of, you know, like easy to digest for a normal mortal like me. So it's really cool, and you know, you really infuse your personality into it, and it's really, really fun. What actually gave you that idea to start that show?
I had been sort of collecting riffs, not my whole life, but like for a couple years. I was like, oh, that's a nice one. That's hard. I could never do that.
Sure.
And I remember like a couple years back, somebody, I think it was a sort of an acquaintance friend of mine, was talking about the Lead the Way riff from Mariah Carey, by Mariah Carey from episode 2 that I ended up doing. And it was like impossible for me to figure out. I couldn't hear the notes. There was no slowdown app.
Right.
I was like, that's amazing. It's so jazzy. How could you think of that?
Right.
And he basically broke it down, except he wasn't like, I'm breaking down the riffs. It's weird that it like became that. But he said, just think about it in fours. It was like, oh, well, dun, 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 dun. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was like 4 sections. And I was like, what? And so that was like the one like really long one that I was like, oh, that's kind of easy if you think about it in sections. So then a couple of years later, I learned the Jasmine Sullivan riff. Never figured out how to do it slow, but all the really impossible ones I could like actually do.
Right.
And then I had to go. The ones that I figured out how to do fast were really hard to relearn slow. That was something that was interesting.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
And then the Beyonce Halo riff was kind of the inspiration because it was the counting riff, which basically made sense to me and how many notes there were. And then I decided to do like one video with like 1 million riffs in it, like on Photo Booth. And then my friend's like, why don't you just do like one riff? So I was like, okay, do you want to film it? And he's like, I have a good camera. And that's literally how it started. And like the rest is history. And I came up with different titles like Figuring Out the Riffs, Breaking Down the Runs. And that sounded like...
I think you got it right now. Breaking Down the Riffs sounds good.
Kind of cool. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. So, and you know, you actually engage like different singers from different sort of walks of life to come on the show with you. So how have you found that experience, and how have you actually been able to engage with so many different types of singers?
Well, it started off with Lame as cast members, which were... The Lame as cast members were different levels.
Yes.
And I chose them for different reasons. So the first person I chose, I knew she had good pitch, but I knew she was a middle-of-the-road riffer.
Right.
And it wasn't anything like insulting. It just wasn't so remedial and so amazing. And I actually tested out this... I always remember these things. I tested out episode 1 on my wardrobe girl who could not sing. And I said, can you repeat these pitches back to me, count the numbers? And she could do it. And I was like, okay, great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she wasn't tone deaf, but she was not a singer. And she did it. And so I picked a girl, and, you know, the next person was like a decent riffer. And then the next person was like a really fast riffer. Right. And they were like impossible riffs. So then I would cast each riff based on ability. So one of them was decently easy. So I did a funny one with like a little kid who I knew it didn't have to be good.
Yes, no,
and then
I actually saw that. Yeah, that was fantastic.
That's my favorite,
yeah,
my personal favorite, because
so
it's like him interviewing me, and it's the funniest thing ever. Basically, from then on, I kind of like chose singers for a reason, and then I was able to get like Broadway stars who I felt were approachable and I was already acquaintances with, so it wasn't like, excuse me, Christina Aguilera, could you be on my show? Like, a little more accessible.
So have you found that this, you know, doing this show, obviously it was just sort of a random idea, your friend going, hey, I've got a camera, let's do it. You obviously probably didn't imagine that it would get to this point. Yeah, Never. So what has it done for you, Natalie, and your career, and just, I don't know.
It's absolutely insane because, you know, my credit, you know, at the gay bars when I used to sing was like, you know, oh God, 2008, YouTube sensation.
Right.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
Like American Idol season 4 semifinalist. But now it's like when people say, what's your number one credit? I like to say creator of Breaking Down the Riffs. It's insane. Like people come up to me on the street. Like I was walking to the subway the other day and somebody goes, I love your Breaking Down the Riffs. Like that's what she said. It wasn't like, I like your voice. It was like, I love your series. And I think that's insane. And you know, what started out as one video turned into like episodes. Like I never imagined seasons and episodes. Like there haven't been seasons because there's no like arc.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, it's just, you know, you wanting to interview me from Australia. That's what's happened.
That's what it's done. Right.
You know.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, it really has, you know, become wildly successful, and songbirds around the world, I really encourage you to just click on the links below and go and check it out. If you haven't checked it out yet, your life will not be the same. Seriously, go and have a look at that.
And that just wish it made me more money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All
Wish I
right.
was getting sponsors and getting that money from the YouTube videos, but I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, YouTube out there, hope you're hearing this. Yeah. Now, of course, you're an artist and you do many different things. Okay, so Breaking Down the Riffs is one of the things. You're obviously a live performer, and I believe you have a show coming up. Correct?
I do.
Yeah. Why don't you tell people
Yes.
about it?
I am performing at the Highline Ballroom on July 13th. I'm currently prepping and memorizing and arranging and rehearsing and blah, blah, blah. So.
Fantastic. Yeah. So it's a busy time for you, obviously.
Right
Yeah.
now, but it really wasn't for a couple months. It was really, really slow.
Right. And then that's quite characteristic of a life of an artist, isn't it? Like you just have your
Totally.
peaks and troughs, and yeah. So how do you do
I'm
it?
about to do my first musical after 2 years.
Are you? And what's
I'm
that?
doing
Are we allowed to know?
production Saturday Night Fever in upstate New York.
Woo!
Yep.
Fantastic! Oh, that's so cool. I so wish I was in New York. I'd be there. I'd be there in the front row, Natalie.
My God. I'm like a big part. I was just like, okay, I'll do a musical.
Yeah, why not? No, it's very cool. So you're preparing for your show, and I did see the footage of how you actually came about choosing your backup singers, which was pretty cool. Like you pretty much auditioned 200 people
So-
or something, and yeah. So tell me about it. Pardon? What was
Did
that?
you watch the documentary?
I did. It was fantastic.
I'm having my first rehearsal with them on Monday.
Right, exciting.
They've
Yeah.
been overloaded with emails from me. Here's some more tracks in your Dropbox folder. Here are some instructions. Let me know how you're feeling. And then I write them like, A, I hate Natalie. B, I'm overwhelmed. C, I'm excited. 4, I hate this. They were like excited.
Right. Good. Well, that's good to know. You know that your singers are excited. I'm sure they are. I mean, I saw, how like the whole process of you auditioning and then how you revealed the winners, and that was all fun. So was that the first time that you'd ever sourced your backup singers in that way?
No. My first live audition ever. I have done a lot of contests on the internet, which have been really awesome and really successful.
Right.
In London, I had a contest. They had to submit a video of them making up harmonies to a track of mine on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
So that was, for me, easy to weed out the people that really couldn't do that. Then the callbacks were tracks.
Yep.
And somebody actually flew from Australia.
Oh, are you serious? Wow.
Who won. Yeah, he won, and he's amazing. We're
glad
buddies.
He won. I'm glad he won.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. There you go.
And then for LA, I had a contest for backup singers, and I decided to get just a video of them singing first, because I thought they were going to be singing solo, so I needed fierce singers, and then the second round was harmonies, so then I could see who kind of, couldn't do that well.
Sure.
In Scotland, my producer there had a live audition for my singer, so I chose them based on video. Like, I watched the live auditions.
Yeah.
And this was my first live audition. It was like so intense and so stressful and so exciting.
Oh, really? You found it stressful?
So stressed out. Like, I was so attached to everyone. I couldn't make cuts.
Right.
I was like, I wanted everyone, and my friends were like, Natalie.
You only need 3. Yeah, right. Okay, so I understand. So that emotional side of it, that mama side, like, oh, I just want to look after
Exactly.
everyone.
And I was like, I want to hang out with them and I want to coach them. They're like, yeah, but you don't want them to.
Well, that's the
sing
thing,
out.
because you are a voice coach yourself. So where does your coaching work sort of fit into this eclectic life? That is
Well, basically, like, I'm lucky because I have a following. So when people say, she can bell tie, she must be able to teach, not true. I just had like a side passion for it, all through college, because I played the piano and I was like the go-to pop girl. So people were like, sing this for me, or can you play this? And so I was like, I need to be making money off of this. So, it was my side job for a while, except when you get off a big tour and you're like, okay, I have no income. That was my life for 2014. It was like traveling all over, teaching and doing concerts, and that was like my income.
Yeah, sure. So what do you find, is rewarding about doing that?
I don't know. I'm like obsessed with young talent. Like, I keep seeing. I just saw the Jimmy Awards, which are the National High School Musical Theater Awards,
Oh, right.
and I got a ticket to that. And so I saw like the best in the country, and it's just like mind blowing how people are that talented, that young.
Yes.
And when I feel like I have something, and then I say something that I make up, and they like improve, it's like, Wait, I just
Wow.
made
Yeah.
sense? What?
Yeah. I know the
So
feeling.
it's
It's a
cool,
great
you know?
feeling. Yeah, yeah.
I also actually had 3 hours of teaching today at
Oh,
the,
did you?
this, when I talk really low. So
Uh,
I have to talk more because I'm fatigued.
yes, yes. Okay, so we have to speak a little higher then, hey? Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. So I mean, I can see obviously. I mean, you're not only just a talented singer and artist yourself, but you do have that teacher's heart, and it comes through on your show, Breaking Down the Riffs. Because otherwise, why would you care about breaking down these riffs for others? The fact that you can do it yourself, that'd be fine. But you actually want to share that knowledge, so that's why I wanted to ask you about that. So that's really very, very, very cool. Now, Natalie. You know, I mean, looking at you and where you are in your career right now, it just seems like you really have enjoyed a lot of success. But on the flip side, is there a story about a time where you know you kind of doubted yourself, or you had an obstacle to overcome in your journey of getting to where you are today?
So many, because I'm asked this question all the time. I recently, last year, had a horrible, scathing review written about me, about one of my shows.
Oh no.
And, like, I've seen negative comments. That's
Yes.
another one.
Yes.
Negative comments on the internet has
Yes.
been really hard for me.
Yeah.
Somebody says, you know, her voice hurts my ears.
Oh what?
I think it's funny. Like, I'm not upset.
Sure.
When it's like, you
I'm
know,
upset for you, but anyway.
yes, I'm like, you know, God, when did she get so fat? Girl, who did you eat? Like,
Oh.
it's just, you know, everyone has like their insecurities, and,
Mm.
you know, the acting comments are constant battle for me. So it's really frustrating.
Right.
But during my show, the show was like really successful, like amazing audience. And
Yeah.
this particular person, I don't know what happened, but I woke up, I had done a concert
Mhm.
at night. I had another one the next day, and I woke up and read the review, but it wasn't because I searched my name. It's because he tweeted me the link of his review.
To his bad review.
So I was like, no way, cool. I read it the morning of my second show and have to do another show.
Oh no.
Like, I break down crying in my hotel room, and I said to my best friend was with me, and he said he was really rubbed the wrong way by my personality on stage. And so for me, it wasn't like her performance or her portrayal. It was like
Right.
me as a person.
Oh,
And so
goodness.
he was like ripping me apart.
Yeah.
And so, and my friend was like, Natalie, like, I would maybe like, I would tell you. He was like, this is inappropriate. Don't do this. And he was like, he's way off. Like, I'm telling you right now.
It's so hard as an artist these days, and particularly the fact that you do have an online following and people just feel like they can say whatever they want. What advice would you give, you know, say the emerging artist who's trying to build their digital presence and maybe putting out YouTube videos or whatever, and you know, because inevitably there will be haters and there will be people who criticize your work. What advice would you give them in terms of how to deal with that?
You just have to think about supportive people.
Yes, absolutely. So surround yourself with the people who love you and believe in you. Yeah, and don't dwell on the haters. So Natalie, why do you sing and do what you do?
Well, sometimes you want to give up, but then you realize that, you know, I'm across the country doing this class in London, and this girl came up to me and said, hey, I feel like I want to thank you. And I said, what? And she said, my mom died last year, and, you know, your videos, like, helped me get through that. And I was like,
Wow. That's amazing.
I was like, I don't even, like,
Wow.
I can't even comprehend that. I don't even remember why I wanted to sing back then. I think I wanted to be famous
Sure.
when I was young.
Sure, that was
But
your
like,
motivation.
I have no desire to be any more famous now. Like,
Sure.
and like, I am nobody in the scheme of things, but in my little world, like,
Yes. Oh
when
no,
you get a
you're
taste,
definitely
like,
somebody. I wouldn't say you're nobody, but I know what you
but
mean.
I'm just saying, like, I wanted to be like a megastar, and like,
Sure.
it has its
Yeah.
struggles.
Right. Sure. So then, what
Yeah,
what
I
motivates
just,
you now? Then is it stories like this where?
yeah,
where
stories like that. Like, I
Yeah.
just can't believe that.
That's the power of music, though, isn't it? And
Insane. It's insane.
yeah, that's awesome. Because these are the moments that you need to come back to when you do get a scathing review or some you know really mean person saying ridiculously mean things for no reason. You know, this is what you come back to, right? Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's awesome. So, on the flip side, what would you be if you weren't a singer?
A professional poker player.
Would you really? Okay, sure.
I'm obsessed with gambling.
Okay, sure. Each to their own. All right.
Maybe a makeup artist.
Ah, cool. Awesome. tutorials coming up on.
I only did one.
Yep. Okay, I better check that out. Cool. Okay, awesome. So Natalie, where can songbirds from around the world go and find out more about what you're up to?
NatalieWeiss.net.
NatalieWeiss.net, that's the best place to go to. Yeah, and of course.
Yeah, my social media, like Natalie_Weiss, Twitter, Instagram.
Excellent. All right, so we'll have all those links down below. Now, before we go, I'd like to ask you, what are your top 3 tips as parting advice, just for singers around the world who aspire to, to sort of be like you and to be able to build a career as a singer and as an artist? What are your top 3 tips?
Don't put videos on the internet to be famous, but you should put videos out because this day and age is very instant gratification. And, if you, let's say I recommend a singer. Well, do you have any clips of them singing? No. Next.
Right.
Move on. So you have to have at least 1 or 10 good footage of you on the internet.
Yes. Okay. So digital presence is important, but don't do it for fame.
Don't do it. Because it's not going to happen. I didn't try to be. Somebody put up a video of me in 2006, and then the next day I had Facebook friend requests. I didn't even know what YouTube was.
Sure.
I'm sure Pauline Miranda Sings did not try to be famous.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so that's number 1.
Yeah, be nice to everyone because you never know who knows who.
Yeah. Good. That's a good one.
And if you can see yourself doing anything else, do that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you never heard that? Everyone says that in the business.
Can you just sort of elaborate on that? Why? Because obviously for you can't see yourself doing anything else then, right?
Yes.
All right.
I can see myself doing things in the business. I can't see myself doing chemistry.
Sure. Yeah. Neither can I.
Basically, it's very, very hard. You're basically, let's say you go to a conservatory for $60,000 a year. You're basically paying $60,000 to have an employment rate of 1%, something absurd.
Right.
I don't remember what the statistics are, but the job outlook's really bad.
Yeah. Sure.
So you have to want to do this.
Yeah. Really want it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. So, okay, for someone who really wants it, then what are say maybe one piece of advice that you would give them to help them to, when they have those moments of giving up, what would you say to them?
Keep training. Keep friends that you enjoy being around.
Yes.
And if you, figure out why you're doing it, why you really want to do it.
Yes.
And if you don't want to do it anymore, don't do it.
Yeah. No,
but you're saying if you do want to do it.
Yeah, yes. But I think what I'm getting from you is that if you really, really want it, the motivation can't be...
You'll do whatever you can to do it.
Do whatever you can, but the motivation can't be because I want to be famous. That's not going to sustain you. It's basically what you're saying. You're saying there has to be a...
Because you're not going to be. There are people that are... Don't do it just to be on Broadway also. Because a lot of people are like, have you been on Broadway? And they're like, no, but I've been in 80 million regional shows. I have a family, and that's success to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think that being able to define success for yourself is actually really important too, hey? Rather than just going after the definition of success that you have from the world. That's, megastar, this and that and whatever. Yeah? So do it out of really wanting it and out of the love. That's right. What I'm getting from you. Yeah? Is that right? Did I just, make that up? Yep. Cool.
Well, you're right.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Natalie, it's been an amazing time to chat with you today. Thank you so much for making the time. Follow her on social media and also check out the Breaking Down The Riffs show. It's going to change your life. Thank you so much, Natalie. You're awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.